Live coverage of the Guaranteed Rate Elite at Pickwick Lake is sponsored by Rapala.
On location here in beautiful Florence, Alabama, and we are finally fishing on Pickwick Lake, this incredible historic fishery. And Davey Height, I know you're excited to get back here, right back here where you rolled out of town with that incredible trophy. And this fishery, no matter what it throws at us, it always throws at us an incredible tournament.
It does, and the thing that makes this so special, obviously the good fish, but having all the different species, largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass, and, you know, I was able to win with a mixture of those three. It'll be very interesting to see. A lot of big largemouth have been caught here in the last few weeks, but so many changes this week with the water coming up, the water clarity, that sort of thing. It is really 2 days off with no practice. It's really made it tough.
This, our Toyota Midday Report. Want to welcome everybody back. And there's a guy that you got to feel comes into this event very motivated. Chris Zaldain, and in familiar water.
Yeah, definitely familiar up there. And really, the picture doesn't do this justice. A lot of current. It's really incredible how much current is there. Chris Zaldain, you can see he's just off of the current seam itself. He's not, you can't even hold your boat with your trolling motor in that heavy current. So those fish look for those current seams, and Chris Zaldain with a swim bait in his hand, he really was getting it done this morning. Catching a lot of different species, striped bass, smallmouth, largemouth, a few drum, that sort of thing. Just a lot of fish up there feeding.
Well, here's a guy who, speaking of motivation, he's got his hands on that Angler of the Year title at this point, and he does not want to relinquish it. The hack attack back, and I got to feel these conditions may actually even help him.
Yeah, absolutely. He was fishing offshore, but catching largemouth, and you see there this morning, he's up there in that sawgrass catching those fish, looking for the clear water, and those largemouth that he had been catching shallow but offshore have moved up into these clear water areas, and he looks very much at home with a flipping stick in his hand, fishing that shallow vegetation.
Well, next up, the man with the plan saying, catch me if you can. Justin Atkins, he is the odds-on favorite. Everybody talking about him is the guy you got to pick. Can he live up to it, Davey?
Well, it's tough. You get a lot of pressure on you fishing your home water, but so much knowledge. He's a great fisherman. He's proven that through the years. A great young angler. I'm willing to bet he's probably fishing an area there shallow that was dry just a few days ago. But his experience this week should really help him a lot.
Experience is going to be a big thing this week. Anglers that adjust are going to finish on top, and this is a guy who's proved that he has learned how to adjust and fish the moment.
Well, it's really incredible. I mean, you've known it since the day one on the elites, Dave, that Brandon Polnick is just a guy that knows how to win, and he's not afraid to roll the dice and go do something different. We saw that last year with 2 victories, smallmouth, and then the other one at Santee Cooper. So Brandon Polnick is a guy that's not afraid to fish the conditions and is working out really good for him this morning. All these fish came in just about a 50-yard stretch. There you see him using a B.A.S.S square bill crankbait that he likes a lot.
You see that watercolor, and that's a big thing everybody's talking about. How much of that, I mean, is that going to affect this as much as they think, or is it going to affect the anglers more?
Well, I think it'll affect the anglers a lot. I heard a lot of the guys with the days off were riding all around the lake trying to look at the creek, some that were more clear than others. But it's, you know, this really to me isn't unfishable dirty water. I haven't seen anywhere around the venue here and up or downstream a few miles, but that stained water I think helps once it settles out. Now the last 2 days it probably would have been real difficult, but that stained water is not a bad thing this time of the year.
As a competitor, Davey, the last 2 days, tell me what it's got to feel like for these guys, you know, caged animals just wanting to get out there in this incredible fishery.
Well, you and I both kind of felt like that too, yeah. but as a fisherman, it just drives you nuts because especially if you had a good practice, everything has changed. The water came up about 6 feet.
Or maybe you just don't have to go very far at all. Maybe you just stay right here at takeoff and lead the tournament as Scott Martin is doing.
Yeah, just incredible. He's another guy that's not afraid to make some changes. I was actually able to be out there and talk to Scott a little bit this morning. I said, did you catch him here in practice? He said, no, I just had a good feeling about right here with all this current, and there's a little slack water right at the venue, and boy, did it pay off for him. He was getting bites every cast there for a while. Then things started to slow just a little bit. But he had about 17 pounds before things slowed up. And I don't even know if he started his engine. I know he didn't plane off this morning.
Well, Scott Martin didn't go very far at all, and man, backing up his first top 10 in the Bassmaster Elite Series. But let's travel a little bit and join Chris Zaldain, a guy who you got to feel comes into this event with a little bit of pressure and a lot of motivation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Chris Zaldain is good with a swim bait in his hand. He's very, very comfortable. And I heard him talk a little bit this morning. He realizes that you have to be patient, and you might catch 4 or 5 drum in a row, and then you could catch 4 or 5 smallmouth in a row.
Tell me about.
Yeah, I'm still in this horseshoe area. I started on the east, on that east horseshoe side, just because that's all fresh water coming in, and this is where most of the current was in practice. Well, this is where all the current was in practice, and I'm on a big break here. And I've got a couple rock piles marked. They're a lot deeper, of course. They're in 12 to 15 now, but they're not washed out by any means. I mean, it's not real, real crazy current. So with the confidence, knowing that there's a nice hole there, I could just really swim this swimmer nice and slow through here. Just gonna try to bump the rocks. The water level is higher. But I mean, this is the biggest current break on this side. So they're in this eddy somewhere. It's up to me to present the swim bait, just perfectly. And with that being said, I'm gonna idle up just a hair. And whenever.
Davey, that area, as I said, very, very special to you, but that gives us a very unique opportunity. Explain to me what he's fishing there.
Well, the big thing is there's a tremendous amount of bait up there. Threadfin shad, gizzard shad. I mean, there is so much bait, and that's what really attracts and keeps those fish there. The smallmouth love current, and I'll be honest with you, 10 years ago when I caught them up there, I couldn't believe how many largemouth live up there in that strong current. So those fish are there all the time. The big issue every day is to find the little current seam that they've moved to, because that water obviously fluctuates all the time.
Yeah, we just moved a little bit up the river. We've got a few bites here, but no upgrades. Actually, they're both like spotted bass, mean-mouth looking fish, which tells me probably in a little bit too much current for the largemouth maybe. But you'd think there'd still be some good smallmouth and stuff around here, but just moving around, still trying to get dialed in. We had a good morning, landed on a good area where I was able to move around and get some bites, but we got to just keep doing that. Keep doing it. Catching them doing a lot of different things, which is fun. Catching them on a Rapala BX Brat number 6. Catch them on a chatterwagon, the X-Zone adrenaline craw on it, and then caught some flipping a 3/8 ounce jig that I tied up with a X-Zone Rebel chunk. Pretty much what all our bites have came on so far.
I got to believe this tournament, Davey, you hear people say, pre-fish. Does it matter this time around? I can't think it's ever wasted, but what's your take on it?
Well, it's so different. You've got to stay out on the water, but these storms were forecasted, and all this rain, it was actually more rain than was even forecast, but these anglers knew that it was going to change in the rising water, so I'm sure they had that in mind during practice. But man, you just really can't prepare for the water level coming up 6 feet and the water clarity changing so many places. But I just think it's going to spread people out a lot. I mean, we've got people all the way. You see Chris Zaldain all the way behind the Wilson Dam, and I'm sure we've got anglers all the way down to Yellow Creek, 40, 45 miles away.
From the very moment this event was announced, re-announced when it got switched with the Bassmaster Classic date, everybody started talking about that Century Belt and saying it is a realistic possibility. Did this weather bring us closer to it or further away?
Further away. You just, and I talked about that, talking with Tommy some, doing the live well, that, if the weather cooperates, I really felt like it could be over 100 pounds to win. It's still going to be a great event. I mean, we're on a great fishery, and these guys are the best in the business. But, man, when you basically lose your practice and you have to start all over, it makes it really, really tough. And they'll figure them out, and I think the tournament will get better because these guys will get more and more dialed in. And as this water stabilizes, they'll be able to catch them each and every day.
One of the key things we talked about at the last event was kind of how it played out a little bit better for the veterans, just because so much was thrown at them going into that event. They knew how tough it was going to be. Well, just when you thought it wasn't going to be any tougher, you come somewhere where you're on them, and then this gets thrown at you. I got to feel that maybe this sets up a little better for the veterans or more experienced anglers again.
It does, and it's interesting you say that, Dave, because we've got great young anglers. Every year our rookie crop is incredible. So it's not a play on the young anglers just aren't good. It's just you grow up fishing 1-2 day events, a 4-day event, and then basically a 4-day event without practice. It just takes years of getting used to. We've got, it's been proven time and time again, our rookie crop each year on the Bassmaster Elite Series, they're incredible fishermen. They had to qualify to get here, but the 4-day events, in this case, basically with no practice, it makes it tough, and it makes it easier on a guy that's a veteran that he can just start right outside the takeoff area like Scott Martin did today, or Chris Zaldain that goes up there and he says, hey, I know they're here. I've just got to find out which current seam, because obviously they have moved from the water up there 6-7 feet higher than when he caught them up there in practice. And to be patient and have confidence in yourself, it just takes a little more time.
This event has changed since it actually started. So I would imagine the changes will continue. I mean, the only thing we can guarantee is it's going to continue to change all the way through to the final day.
Yeah, that's our sport, though. That's what makes it so unique. You see a football game, you'll see snow, you'll see rain, you'll see a few weather changes, but we have so many uncontrolled variables in our sport. It's a challenge every day.
Challenging tournament, but these guys always up for the challenge, and we're going to follow the action all day long right here on Bassmaster.com. And we are on location, and I'm going to tell you, it's starting to feel nice, very nice for our tournament leader, Scott Martin, with 17 pounds, 2 ounces. Brandon Polnick behind him, Brandon Lester, and Frank Talley felt very, very comfortable when I saw him on the dock this morning. But look out, Pat Schlopper, he's your Bass Nation National Champion, took the title when we were here. Bill Lowen, who wouldn't want to see him? It is going to be a lot of fun to follow this action all day long on Bassmaster Live.
Check out this one. Long hair, loves to hike and plays Frisbee.
What is he, a Labrador?
So should I meet him?
You are not that adventurous.
Yes, I am.